friends, it's Brittany with 4B Farms. It has been raining here all week and it has finally stopped for just a minute. I wanted to get out here so I can kind of give y'all an update on the fall garden. It is the first, I believe it's actually October the 2nd. So the first week of October, and I wanted to show you where we're at so far. So I have yet to plant any of my fall starts. This is the green beans, and we have a few sweet potatoes planted there. And I had 2 tomato plants planted, but they weren't growing as fast as I need them to be, considering our first frost date is coming right up. So I went ahead and pulled those up, and I'm trying to make as much room as possible in this first left bed, so we can get my starts in hopefully next week. I'm going to do all broccolis in this bed. So these are my tomato plants. They have just exploded. They have blooms and tomatoes. So this is my second time planting tomatoes this season. So I did not start these when I started all of my other tomato plants. The ones that I have already pulled up, I put these in after the squash and zucchini plants were taken out of this bed. But they are just full of tomatoes, and I've never planted or grown tomatoes this far into the fall. So I'm really excited to see how far these get and how they do before the frost. We still have tons of peppers growing in this bed, lots of Tabasco peppers still, and I will be ripping these out the closer we get to our first frost date. I believe it's towards the end of October. I'll have to look that up again. We're in zone 7B, before I can make any room for all the starts I have with the broccolis and Brussels sprouts and kale and I can't remember the rest that I've already started, but I've got to get these pulled out so I can make some room. So with all my fall starts that I have, I still have time to they have time to grow in their little pots that I have, but I did want to get them into the ground as soon as possible, just so they'll have a lot more nutrition and they can grow faster. But in this first tomato bed I'll show you, I have ripped up all the tomato plants except one. So I wanted to show you what I had planned on. I'm leaving the cattle panel up, and I'll show you what I plan on planting. Okay, so I'm walking through the gate to the left. I'm hoping that's where I plant all of my broccolis, and then to the right is where I have all of my tomato plants, and then all of the marigolds planted in the middle for the tomato plants. These I've left a little bit, so because they're just still so pretty and they're not all dead, but the rest of them I pulled up because they were mainly dead. But so I have this whole side of this bed, and then this whole side, and my daughter and I had already, well, actually some are coming up, you can see right there. So we planted beets and radishes on this side, and I just sprinkled them in. I did not make rows. I've never grown beets or radishes really successfully, so I'm excited to see if this works. Now on the other side, we planted carrots on this half, and then we stopped about this in the middle here, and then we planted lettuce, like salad green lettuce, and we also just kind of sprinkled that in there. So I'm excited to see if those come up. Because it has been raining so heavy, I'm not real sure if they got washed away or where they will start sprouting. I really wanted to go ahead and plant my fall starts this week, but we had chances of rain all week. It did not rain the beginning of the week, but yesterday and today it has been pouring down rain, so I had not gotten any of the starts that I had showed y'all in my last video, any of the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts, kale, any of that, but I am still making room in the garden. So as soon as I get the room cleaned out and the weather kind of cooperates, we'll get those in the ground. So like I said, it is October 2nd. I have tons of starts, not in the beds just yet. I'm still waiting on to see how long I can make these tomatoes last. And with those, when we have tons of green tomatoes on there. So the closer we get to our first frost date, they will not make it. And so we'll just have tons of green tomatoes, which is fine because I have found tons of recipes for just using green tomatoes. So even if they don't ripen, I can still use them. And once I pull those up, then I can get my fall plants in the raised beds. So it's kind of just a waiting and see how long I can wait and see how quickly the tomatoes ripen. And then the peppers, they're doing fantastic, and I just hate to pull those up just yet. If the tomatoes are still going to be in there for a while, just let the peppers keep going. And I am super excited to see some of these beets germinating. Now you'll see these are actually zinnias. Those are volunteers, and I'm just gonna let those grow and see how they do, as long as they're not messing with what I have planted and where those are gonna grow. A lot of the seeds are just right up here on top of the soil, and I'm trying to dig them a little deeper just so their roots can take a hold, because the rain was really hard on some of these, and I don't think they're gonna get very established if I don't. But it's only been 2 days and they're already popping up, so that's pretty exciting. And like I said, these are my beets, and I've never planted those before, so I'm excited to see how they do. I know this is a really short video and there's not a whole lot of update, but I did just want to share that we did get our carrots, beets, some lettuce, and radishes in the ground. It's the first week of October. All of my starts are still in the trays. I have not got them in the ground yet. We still have tons of green tomatoes and peppers going. So I just wanted to kind of give you all an update and show where we're at. But thanks so much for watching and following along. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or comments or helpful tips and tricks, let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.